Section 8 is getting cut and kids might go hungry because of it. My food stamps show 0. What do you expect me to do now? People say, just get a job, but what if there are no jobs? Stores are being robbed because benefits froze. This is getting dangerous. You think I don't want to work? Or you just don't want me working with you? Trump cut Section 8, but who pays the price? Families or freeloaders? Charleston says this isn't oppression, it's correction. Really? If your rent money suddenly stopped, where would you go? People are running out of Walmart with carts full of food because their kids are starving. Some are celebrating these cuts. But what about the children? This isn't politics anymore. It's life or homelessness. When the benefits disappear, do we blame the people or the system? I know y'all don't want me to come work. I see how y'all talk to me on TikTok. If I show up to work with y'all, how will you treat me? Like I won't actually work? Y'all don't know how to treat people. You're disrespectful. I don't even know if y'all like people my color. I'm not coming out there to mingle with y'all are rude. It's been 5 days and I still haven't received my food stamps. My disability check is on hold. My cash benefits are pending and not coming through. The taxpayers should be the ones helping my kids eat and be cared for. You think it's okay that Trump is getting rid of Section 8? Some people are furious. Others are saying, good. It's about time. Some are even joking that maybe stripping away housing assistance will boost the prostitution industry because people will finally have to hustle for survival. It sounds wild, but that's the type of talk happening online right now. But let's slow down for a second and really think this through. This change isn't just a political moment. It's something that affects families, children, neighborhoods, entire communities. Section 8 has been the one lifeline that allowed many struggling families to escape dangerous environments and move somewhere safer. For years, those vouchers helped people leave rundown housing projects and move closer to better schools, cleaner streets, and job opportunities. Take a single mom with 2 or 3 kids. With Section 8, she could qualify for a voucher and finally get a decent home, something she could never afford on her own income. That voucher wasn't just a handout. It was hope. It was access. It was a better future for her kids. But now, with the government blocking new vouchers and cutting support, what happens? Those families won't be able to afford suburban rent anymore. So, where do they go? Back to the projects. Back to overcrowded apartment buildings. Back to the same cycle they were trying to escape. This shift won't just hurt individuals, it will reshape entire neighborhoods. When thousands of families get pushed back into low-income areas at the same time, those areas become even more concentrated with poverty and limited resources. Schools become overcrowded. Crime rates rise. Violence spreads. The divide between the haves and have-nots grows deeper than ever. Because here's a truth a lot of people ignore. Poverty doesn't just affect the poor. It affects the whole community. Now imagine the mental strain people are going through right now. For decades, many felt safe knowing they had government support. They felt like even if things got tough, at least their kids would have a roof over their heads. At least they wouldn't be out on the streets. But now that safety net is being yanked away, and not slowly, but all at once. You can already see the panic online. Mothers crying into their phones. People lining up at assistance offices demanding answers. TikTok lives filled with fear and rage. Some folks are screaming, if you're hungry, go get a job. But what about those caring for elderly parents or disabled children? What about areas with no jobs nearby? What about people working minimum wage who still can't cover rent? The conversation isn't as black and white as social media makes it. Here's the thing, both arguments have truth in them. Yes, there are people who take advantage of the system. Yes, there are people who make excuses when they could be working. Yes, some families have used Section 8 not as a stepping stone, but as permanent comfort. But there are also millions of people who truly need help. People escaping abusive relationships, veterans dealing with trauma, families stuck in low-paying jobs, disabled individuals unable to work, children who didn't choose their situation. These people aren't lazy. They're trapped. If Section 8 disappears for them, where do they go? Shelters? Streets? Cars? Motels? A lot of families are one missed payment away from homelessness. One policy change away from disaster. This government shift forces a hard question. Is this reform pushing people to become stronger? Or is it punishing those already struggling to survive? Supporters say it's about responsibility, that people should work, contribute, and stop relying on others. They argue that taxpayers shouldn't have to pay for those who refuse to help themselves. Opponents say it's cruel, that it hits the poor hardest, especially those who can't work. They say this move doesn't solve poverty, it only hides it. And now, with November approaching and benefits freezing, everyone is feeling the pressure. Not just the ones who abused the system, but the ones who depended on it to keep their children fed and sheltered. Families who were finally starting to build something better are staring at eviction notices and empty cupboards. Kids who were just getting comfortable in new neighborhoods may have to pack up and return to unsafe environments. This isn't just a policy change. It's a turning point. Whether it becomes a success story about hardworking people rising above, or a tragedy about millions falling through the cracks, depends on what comes next. But one thing is clear. When you strip away support overnight, when you push people into panic, when you threaten their homes and their children's safety, desperation enters the picture. And desperate people don't always follow rules. So before anyone cheers too loudly, maybe ask yourself, is the goal to build strong, independent families? Or to punish the poor because some abuse the system? Because real compassion isn't about ignoring the problem. It's about fixing it without breaking the people caught in the middle. Charleston White stirred up the internet again, and this time, his fire is aimed straight at Black women relying on food stamps. He didn't hold back, calling the emotional TikTok videos about frozen EBT cards modern-day begging. According to him, too many grown women are sitting around waiting on government benefits instead of getting up and doing something for themselves. If you've been online at all lately, you've seen this storm. The For You page is filled with crying mothers showing zero-balance EBT cards, frustrated voices yelling at the government, and threats to start stealing groceries if benefits don't return soon. It's chaos, and Charleston is pointing at the center of it, laughing and lecturing at the same time. He says this freeze on food stamps isn't oppression, it's correction. In his eyes, it's the government's way of forcing people who can work to finally work. He claims the system coddled people into laziness. He argues that the free ride is over and reality has arrived at the door. He's not just criticizing the shutdown, he's calling out behavior he thinks has gone too far. Charleston argues that some women have turned welfare into a lifestyle. They created families they cannot afford, then expect the nation to pick up the bill. He says, "You laid down and had those kids, so you need to stand up and take care of them." Of course, those comments hit nerves hard. Because on the other side of this argument are mothers who feel terrified. They're not seeing Charleston's message as tough love, they see it as disrespect, judgment, and complete ignorance of their real situations. A lot of people online clapped back saying, "Who is he to judge what we go through? What about mothers with newborns? What about parents taking care of disabled children? What about women who actually do work but still can't afford groceries?" Not everyone on food stamps is out here chilling. Many are juggling multiple part-time jobs. Some don't have childcare. Some can't find stable work. Some are living in small towns where opportunities simply don't exist. But Charleston doesn't separate the genuine from the abusers. He aims his words at anyone depending on the system, and that blanket message is what has social media divided. Because yes, people know there is truth inside his harsh delivery. We've all seen the videos of folks bragging about using their benefits to buy luxury items or flipping EBT cards for fast cash. We've seen people who openly refuse to work because the system pays better. We've seen families raising generation after generation on government support, with no plan to ever move forward. Charleston is speaking to that reality. The part no one wants to talk about. The part families whisper about but won't say online. Still, even if some people abuse the system, millions don't. And the timing of this shutdown is brutal. No one expected benefits to suddenly freeze right before the holidays. People who are already stressed are now worried about how their kids will eat. So now, social media is split right down the middle. One side is cheering Charleston on, saying it's about time the government stopped supporting laziness. The other side is furious, saying these changes punish the poor instead of helping them improve. And caught in the crossfire? Real parents. Real children. Real hunger. Charleston loves chaos. He thrives in controversy. But this time, the stakes feel bigger. We're not just watching a loud influencer talk trash for laughs. We're watching a national conversation unfold about survival, responsibility, and what it actually means to help people in need. So the question now is Charleston being cruel? Or is he saying what others are too afraid to admit? Either way, people are listening. The government is cutting off Section 8 and SNAP by November. This didn't happen overnight. Back in July 2025, they quietly put new rules in a big bill. That bill added work requirements, tightened rules, and shifted money away from federal housing and food programs. They converted about 43% of HUD funding into block grants for states. Once that passed, governors had to decide who keeps getting help. By the fall, the USDA issued new guidelines. If you're able-bodied and under 65, you need to work to keep SNAP. Critics called it harsh, When November arrived, SNAP and Section 8 froze for millions. People realized the government safety net wasn't endless. The reaction blew up online. TikTok turned into confession time. Women went live crying, saying they have many kids and none of them will go hungry. Others filmed their EBT showing zero balance and begged for help. One woman even said, "Call the cops, I'm taking it," because her kids were hungry. People started threatening violence over frozen EBT cards. Walmart workers reported chaos, people filling carts, running out of stores, stealing because their benefits were cut. Workers said whole stores had to clear out because folks were panicking about food for their kids. It wasn't just a few people, there were dozens acting desperate. Some women bragged online about gaming the system, others talked about stealing for their kids like it was okay. I got the text that the link is cut off for November. If you stand in my way, I'm walking out with that card and I'm not paying. My kids gotta eat. I'll steal if I have to. I'm telling you straight, I'll load my cart, swipe my card, and if it shows no balance, I'm walking out. I'll have someone with me to handle anyone who tries to stop me. They cut my food stamps. I won't pay for nothing. I got babies at home who need food. You think I'll leave my cart? Hell no. Some are crying that it's unfair. One woman even says, "I got 9 kids." People are scared, angry, and ready to do whatever it takes to feed their children. 9 babies. I got 9 babies. And I want to know why my food stamps ain't on that card. Why? I did everything right. I filled out my application. I've been waiting. I got 3 disabled kids. So why isn't my food assistance showing up? This ain't fair. Shut down or not, my kids still need to eat. I've called and called. I've come down to the office 3, 4, 5 times, and everybody ignores me. I just want my benefits. But the truth is, this system has been falling apart for years. And Charleston White is out here saying exactly what others won't. He calls it not oppression correction. In his view, the government is finally tightening up a program that's been abused too long, cutting out scams, forcing people who can work to actually work. He says this is about ending dependency and stopping people from living off taxpayers like it's a lifestyle flex. When people ask if these cuts will hurt good neighborhoods, Charleston says the only reason families moved to the suburbs was Section 8 vouchers. Without those vouchers, where will they go? Back to struggling areas because rent in the suburbs isn't cheap. And honestly, he's not wrong. People are already talking about being forced right back to the projects. Then there's the excuses spreading online. I can't work because I have kids. I don't want to work. I know y'all don't want me working with you anyway. You're rude and disrespectful. Some folks are straight up refusing to get a job because they think the benefits should just keep coming. Women with multiple children saying they won't work because they don't like how they get treated or claiming people don't like their skin color. Charleston fired right back. You got kids because you laid down and made them. If you can't feed them, why keep having more? The government isn't your baby daddy. That hit social media like a slap. People are tired of watching healthy adults act helpless while expecting free support forever. One woman said she went from $4,400 a month in food stamps to just $38. How am I supposed to feed 6 kids on $38? My disability check is on hold. My Section 8 rent isn't paid. They want $1,100 tomorrow. I can't work. I refuse to work. I only had kids because of the benefits. Now none of my kids qualify. They're older than 7. How am I supposed to live? And Charleston? He didn't soften a thing. He joked that now the money's gone, some people will have to make a living another way because refusing to work doesn't pay the bills. When asked how he feels about Trump cutting Section 8, good. Maybe it'll boost the prostitution industry, laughs and keeps going. He's loud. He's harsh. But he's not the only one fed up. More voices are popping up every day and the message is clear. The free ride is coming to an end. Podcasters, social commentators, even church folks are saying things that used to be off limits. A lot of people got comfortable depending on government help. The federal government just confirmed that no food stamps or Section 8 benefits will be given out in the southern states this November. And people are torn about it. Some families truly need the support. But others have been in the system for years without even trying to move forward, having more kids just to keep the benefits coming. What's wild? A lot of people online agree with Charleston right now. One man commented, "Sounds like they're telling me I'm dumb, lazy, and worthless. Why should hardworking people pay for those who refuse to work?" Another said, "I worked for Section 8 in the 80s. It was frustrating to work 40 hours a week and see people who never worked a day have better homes and cars than I did." A third person said it plain, "If you can work, then go work." And you definitely look like you can work. Some women have been on Section 8 for 15 to 20 years. They raised whole generations on that voucher. They brag that government pays their rent, and many are living better than full-time workers. They're not ashamed, they're proud. The system flipped their mindset. Dependency became a lifestyle. Charleston called it modern slavery, but with designer clothes. And honestly, this snap shutdown just showed how shaky the whole setup already was. This didn't come out of nowhere. Fraud has skyrocketed, over $12 billion lost this year to scams, stolen cards, and people selling their food stamps for cash. Folks buying crab legs on taxpayer dollars, then crying when the money dries up. So the government finally said enough. The new rule is simple: backhand index pointing right. If you are able-bodied and don't work, you don't qualify. They even gave it a fancy name: encouraging dignity through labor. If you're not disabled, not seriously sick, nothing holding you back, you're expected to get a job. Those who refuse will lose benefits. Period. But not everyone thinks this is fair. Critics, especially on the liberal side, say this is cruelty disguised as reform. They argue that millions of kids, seniors, veterans, and disabled people are being punished along with the abusers of the system. They call it abandonment, not progress. More than 25 states are suing the Trump administration to stop these cuts. They're fighting for single moms barely surviving on minimum wage, families caring for disabled children, and people who truly can't work. And that's the truth. There are people who desperately need these programs. But they're stuck in the middle of a fight they didn't start. Not the lazy ones, the real families who genuinely need help. They're the ones getting hurt the most. But the government didn't separate anyone. Everybody is getting hit the same. Charleston is still standing firm, saying the era of being babied is over. And as harsh as that sounds, more people are starting to agree. Because now that November is almost here, panic is getting real. Some folks are crying in videos, others are talking about stealing food, and people online are shouting, if you're really that hungry, maybe it's time to work instead of expecting workers to pay your bills. But here's the tricky part. Behind all the jokes, the drama, and the loud opinions, something much deeper might be happening. This might not just be a reform. It might be a big shift in how our country handles poverty, work, and survival. So what do you think? Is Charleston just loud, or is he the only one bold enough to say what others won't? Did the government finally make the tough decision that needed to happen, or did they just pull support from millions of struggling families right before the holidays? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Backhand index pointing down, and if you want more unfiltered truth, don't just scroll, tap like, hit subscribe, and stick around. Because the next jaw dropper is coming up right now. Fire.